The guru is live.
Good morning. Wow, it's March 1st and we are rocking in the business. Holy cow, this is just incredible. March 1st, and the business started, back on like January 2nd. And it's March 1st, which is kind of the classic spring opening to do sales and get it going. Although inventories are incredibly low. But the topic for today, what should we do with an outdated home? We all get confronted with this problem. What do you do? You walk in and the seller says, I've got this great home. I've been here 35 years. It's been a family home. I'm so proud. Come over here and I'll show you on the back side of the bathroom door, or the edge of the bathroom door, where all my children have grown up, and there's marks for all the children, right there, which is phenomenal. I love that. The character, the history it brings in is so much fun. But let me tell you, it dates the home rapidly, and it dates it in a way that it's somebody else's home. How do you showcase this home to be the next person? How do you set it up for the best you're going to get? This is our topic we're going to unravel today, and we're going to start unraveling this right after this announcement.
So, Rod, how can a cup of coffee improve my career in real estate?
Well, one cup of coffee is how we start our mornings, and it's not a stranger in real estate. We have coffee with our clients all the time. Even bigger than that, we can sit down with one cup of coffee, talk about your goals, make your business bigger, and push you to heights that you can't even believe.
That's right. And I'll tell you, working for Rod and I, you can be pushed because he's a workhorse.
I love real estate, and I want to share my passion with building your career in real estate as soon as we can pour the next cup of coffee.
So how about a cup of coffee with us?
I look forward to having a cup of coffee with you and having a discussion of a career change as soon as possible. Okay. What makes a home outdated? Because that's really the quintessential thing we're talking about here. Is you've got a home, it's outdated, but what really makes it outdated? How can we say that something is outdated? What does outdated mean? Oh, so let's take a look at the first thing. Lighting. Classic lighting from the past, which, by the way, I'm a huge fan of, because I don't have hardly any eyesight and I need a bunch of light. My wife complains about it all the time, saying, okay, you've got the house as a bird cage again, because everything's on, because it takes a, and then the light bothers my eyes because of the retina problem. But nevertheless, anyway, so the lighting, middle of the room lighting. It's in the ceiling, middle of the room, classic. However, in the living room area and kitchen areas and things, that can absolutely date a home to an earlier era. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does obviously date the home, because newer construction doesn't pull that kind of lighting in. They use different kind of side lighting. And you could be a fan of the middle lighting also. I don't know, but you need to know when your buyer says that they want, a modern look, they're probably not looking for middle of the room lighting hanging from the ceiling. The old-fashioned, middle lighting. I don't know what to call it, up there in the ceiling. Furniture, probably the easiest thing to change is furniture, because they're not getting the furniture anyway. But if you are representing the seller, and the seller's been in the home, it's that 35, 40 year time they've been in the home, and all their furniture that they bought was older when they bought the home. They didn't buy new furniture, and now they have this furniture that not only they've had for 35, 40 years, but it was 15 to 20 years old when they got it. That makes the furniture quite old. And it can, furniture all by itself can impact the age of a home. Excuse me. Let me slow down here this morning, get a sip of coffee. I hope you're having a great morning with me. One of my favorite topics is looking around at what I call the character homes. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but character homes goes right along here with the age of homes. Okay, sipping a little bit of my Black Rifle Company coffee this morning. All right, so furniture ages a home. So it's typical in modern homes in a bedroom to have a closet. You know, the closet, you have a door to it, some kind of a sliding door or an actual door. You have a closet to it. Many older homes didn't have that. They would have an armoire, or they wouldn't have one at all. But if they have one, they would have an armoire, and they might even bolt it, screw it to the wall so it becomes a fixture to the home. That's the closet. That's it. And that makes an obvious dating of the home. Can it be nice? Oh man, it can. I can really like some of the armoire. I have some armoires in my home. I love them. I love the feel of an item like that. But it certainly dates the home. And this is a discussion you need to have with the seller as to how you're going to market the home, how you're going to fix the home up, how you want the home presented to the target market you're going after. Advertising the home to anybody is a bad idea. That's wasted dollars. You need to market the home as a target market opportunity for people that really would love the home, to come and take a look. So to make sure they see it, to make sure that population, whoever that is, would see the home. Okay, so furniture, definitely one of those items that it's so easy to change, and yet it's incredibly difficult to discuss that kind of change with the seller. You will also have people saying things like, I want that piece of furniture to remain with the home because it looks like it was built for this home. It's an exact fit. It perfectly fits the windowsill. It perfectly fits the corner. So you are taking a risk by not removing some items, or you need to advertise them up front that certain items are not going with the home, that they may appear to be fixtures when they're really not. Okay, we're going to go to the part of dated homes that is on all of our minds, and that is wallpaper. Wallpaper. What can I say about wallpaper? You walk in and it has the wallpaper in the home from the 60s and the 70s. You immediately know, everybody knows, oh, you have that felt wallpaper. What are you doing with felt wallpaper? And how do you get rid of it? Wallpaper stuff, to get, if it's been put on professionally, you will have a hard time getting rid of it, even with a steamer. It can be very difficult to get rid of. And once it gets dirty, what do you do with dirty wallpaper? Because it's difficult to clean, particularly that felt style wallpaper. By the way, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Take a minute, comment. Have you seen wallpaper? What kind of wallpaper problems have you seen at homes? Not just tears in wall, even though that's hard enough. But what other kind of wallpapers have you seen that have obviously dated a home? What are you seeing out there? And I would love it if you'd hit the like button. I'm just a fan of the like button. It makes my morning every time someone hits it. It's just one of those smile moments. And if you're watching the show on YouTube, if you're not, you can see the in the banner down here how to get to YouTube, and you can hit the the subscribe button in YouTube, which opens up the Guru members only events. Hit that button and let's dig deeper into building your business than ever before. All right, so wallpaper is just one of those difficult things, and it might be on one wall and not another wall. It can truly be a difficult thing to overcome because it's unlikely the seller is going to do anything about it. It's an expensive thing to deal with because often you can't just paint over wallpaper. And if you do, there's whole treatments for it. Anyway, so different topic. So let's get into paint colors, by the way. Your colors change over time. Now, I used to have my full eyesight, by the way. I understand the difference of color. I don't see many colors anymore. It's more of a monochrome with a little bit of eyesight that I have remaining. But I understand color. But color is difficult because colors have changed over time. Color patterns and colors themselves. We are into nowadays in 2022, we are into natural tones and muted natural tones. That's really where the thrust of the market currently is at. We are not into outlandish screaming pink. Even though I seen on the news the other day a person who had a pink house and had made his neighbors mad, and he won the lawsuit. They sued him about it. He wins because there is no HOA saying he couldn't do it. Their complaint was he was lowering the value of their home. And the court said it's his home. He can do what he wants. Tough luck. So to get back at them, I guess, he decided to not only paint his house pink, but to paint his roof. So the whole house was like a Pepto-Bismol pink. Wouldn't you love living next to that? You're living next to the pink mansion that you would definitely be able to tell people, I'm the next house down from the pink house. And they might say, what do you think? Oh, you'll find it. There won't be any problem finding it. It's the screaming pink house. Years ago, I lived next to a canary yellow house. Actually, it wasn't so bad. It wasn't the roof, by the way. It had an accent part of the wall that was this canary yellow, but it was very obvious. But they blended it in with some other browns and things like this. So not horrible. But paint colors change over the decades. The expected paint colors and what's out there and what's acceptable. Paint colors will date your home. Absolutely. People will know by looking at the home that the home probably hasn't been painted in 30 years, or at least they've kept the old paint scheme on it. And you may get a request to change the color of the paint. Now, let's go to a more difficult one than just the paint color of the house, which is difficult enough. But what about the color and age of the appliances, including kitchen countertops? You walk into a house with your client. They're loving the entrance of the house. They've updated the floors with the new hardwood style laminate floorings, and it's beautiful. And you turn the corner and you walk into the kitchen that has the orange laminate countertops, the orange Formica countertops. Oh, speckled Formica, of course. Or it's the green or speckled green Formica countertops. And and there's chips out of it because the Formica always gets a chip. It's not an impervious product or difficult to break. It's brittle and becomes, it appears to me anyway, more brittle over time because it ages. And so you're always going to find somewhere in the kitchen some break to it, some chip out of it. But just the fact that it's that speckled orange speaks to 1971, 1968. That's when this stuff came about. And of course, the couple that lives there, they may even have the Bakelite plates that went with it. By the way, if you know what I'm talking about with Bakelite plates, Bakelite jewelry, all the Bakelite stuff, throw in the comments your favorite piece of Bakelite. I had a friend I went to law school with, this is a long time ago, loved the Bakelite bracelets. And we were out some antique stores, trying to de-stress from some exams in law school, and she ran across some Bakelite bracelets, and I thought she couldn't have been made happier at that moment. I would just, what? It looks like plastic, and she informed me, no, that is Bakelite. So if you know the Bakelite product, put in the comments what you know of it. Of course, Bakelite made a bunch of products. They're very tough products, by the way. From what I know of them, very durable, very tough, but very aged. We're into a different era. It's like walking in and seeing somebody with the old China hutch, the old China hutch in the kitchen, and they have the classic China that's all stored over there, and that never gets touched, because all dinners, all breakfast, all eating is done with a separate set of dishes. Did you grow up in a home like this? My mom had some of this. My mom had the China hutch, where that stuff just didn't get touched hardly. And if it did, there had to be a good reason, because it all matched. It was all perfectly matched together. But it certainly begins to date what is happening out there. It can be beautiful in and of its own right. It can absolutely be beautiful. In fact, I'm not saying that any of these things can't be beautiful. They certainly can be. It's what is expected by your current buyer. Now, I told you we're going to get back over to character, the layout of the home. Let me take a sip of coffee while we're doing it. Okay. Layout of the home. This has changed, in my estimation, probably more than any other aspect of home decor over the decades from the 60s until the 2020s. Where are we at today versus where we were at in the 1950s, 1960s? This has been a massive, huge change. The homes back then are what I refer to, and I am no professional home decor person, by no means. I refer to the homes that are older, what I call character homes. I have heard other people call them this. I would like to hear from you in the comments. What do you call them? These are the homes that have a room for the kitchen. They have a room for the dining room. They have a room for every single thing. You go from room to room to room to room. You always know where you're at in the house because you are in a particular room of the house. I call these character homes because they come with their own character, demonstrating what they are. Then we have the open slate homes of today. And there's been a lot of differences throughout. Now, I'm a fan of the character homes. I'm a huge fan of them. And I currently have a character home that has its rooms for the everything. And my home is only about 25 years old, and it has that. So you can still have some homes that are built in that style. But character homes are very different than the open slate homes. Open slate homes, you walk in and you can see the kitchen openly throughout the kitchen and where you're going to have dinner, a breakfast nook, the living room, the resting area, the den. It's all one large open area. Now, there is nothing wrong with that either. In fact, some of these homes probably make for family style living that is phenomenal, because one person, the mom or dad, can be in the kitchen doing something while the kids are playing in what might be the living room. Like, there is no defining mark as to when the living room starts and the kitchen begins and the dining room starts. There is no definition of it. It's an open slate home. In the comments, what do you like the best? What do you find valuable about the character versus the open slate, as well as everything else in between? Excuse me. Get another sip of coffee here. Now, let's get to the problem. So we're talking about the two different styles. Well, let's get to the big problem. What would it cost to change? What would it cost to change the style? First of all, extraordinarily difficult. I'll just say it right up front, and I am not a contractor. I have trouble pounding in a nail. But I know this: the cost of changing from a character home over to an open slate style home, extraordinarily expensive, because you're talking about suspended expansion areas that you're getting rid of walls. You're going to have to know, what is this supportive wall? You may have to bring people in. This may not be something you can do at all. It may take licensed professionals to come in. You may need to add beams in because of the suspension that it takes over a larger area to not have those supportive walls. So changing may not ever be worth it. Once you bring the licensed person in, and I'm not quoting prices today because it would be impossible to quote a price today. Every home is different. Getting rid of one wall can be a problem. And I've seen homes that I thought to myself, wow, you really should get rid of that wall if possible to open this up even just a little bit. I mean, I was at a home recently that the kitchen was enclosed with a door from the rest of the house. And it would have been wonderful if we could have gotten rid of the partial wall on the one side. As it turned out, it was a supportive wall. And it would take, a beam in there, a support system, and it could be done. But the cost of doing it is going to be extraordinarily high based upon the cost benefit analysis. That's what we're often talking in these situations: cost versus benefit, marketability versus cost. What can you do? You may be better into selling the home the way it sits and taking a slight less than what you would otherwise, because change would be so difficult. And really, would the change of that kind of construction fit the home decor? Because you got the rest of the home that was built around this. So next, historical value. I talk to a lot of people, and I know you do as well in the industry. You're a professional in the industry, and people all the time will say this to you: I think my home has historical value. Okay, now let's face it, most of them do not. But that's not our discussion for today. You can actually research and find out what home may have a historical value in it. But there's different kinds of historical value. One is a historical registry value, where it's actually registered that way, and there's some protections going on in the code. Another one is it just has historical value, what we call intrinsic value. The intrinsic value is the feel of the home, the feel of the area, the feel of the neighborhood. It has that intrinsic feel to it. There's no actual historical registry value to it. But there certainly can be that intrinsic feel to it. That's huge. Having that kind of feel, you can market that. Come visit a piece of the past with a modern twist. Can you imagine reading that? You're already interested in what's going on. A piece of the past with a modern twist in a home. I got to go, even if I don't want to buy that home, I want to go see that home because I want to see what the makeup of that kind of twist would be. So you can play around with intrinsic historical value. And that is remarkable to pull that together on historical value. So again, it's unlikely they actually have historical registry value. Sometimes, but don't walk away from it too quickly because they may have intrinsic historical value and people love that feel. Don't get rid of that. If you're going to remodel, don't get rid of that feel because that is a very marketable piece. Okay. Market the home using style. Well, this is slightly different than the historical piece, but it can tie together with it in style. Stylistic of the home. Use the style of the home. If it's modern, market it as a modern home. If it has history to it, market it as history. Use whatever the style is of the home as part of the marketing impact for the home, because that has huge bang to it. All right. Sellers are tied to their homes. And sometimes sellers will say what I view as this crazy statement of, well, you just put in the listing, I'm selling this thing as is. They'll love my home or they can walk. Well, this is not the show to talk about as is, but be careful when you do it because as is can lower the price of the home. It can give, instead of working for the seller, it can work against the seller because there's automatic assumptions that come along with the term as is. And the seller often means it innocuously. They mean it not for harm. They are proud of what they have. And what they're saying is, come and look at my home. I'm proud of it. Instead, the term as is can turn on you. When you have clients, it is so important to understand the motive of your client, that instinctual motive of what they're looking for. This is incredibly important to understand the interests of the person and the motive of the person. So you're helping them find that golden, wonderful home that they will get to call theirs. But you can only do it by having a relationship with your buyer. You can only help your seller by having the relationship and understanding where they're at so you can market the home appropriately. This is Real Estate Daily. I'm your real estate guru, and I am here to help you grow your business bigger than you ever thought it could be. Let's get busy growing your business. I'll see you tomorrow.